Let's dive into the three C's of leadership, as you just briefly
Mhm.
mentioned: character, competence, and commitment. Can you explain the significance of those, or how that really is structured in order to instill those values into the cadet command and the cadets?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, on the character side, to me, this is the most obvious one because we
Yep.
are really trying to infuse the morals of the Army, our nation, into young people. We're trying to build leaders of integrity who bring value, build trust in organizations. Some of the same things that any Fortune 500 company or civilian organization will want in their workforce. We're trying to do the same thing from a character standpoint. I think one of the points that you mentioned early in the introduction in terms of global impact, we're drawing folks from every corner of our nation, and in terms of the junior ROTC side, and some on the senior ROTC side, because high school U.S. citizens who live abroad, their
Right.
kids have the same opportunity to participate in the senior ROTC program. So think about the diversity of thought and experience that those folks bring, that common character trait that we're looking for and trying to really instill in some and grow in others, because we all come from different places with different backgrounds, and we have morals, ethics, and values that we've grown up with or are infused in us through our experiences as young people. And we're trying to shape what the Army values are and pull people into that. So on the character side, that becomes, how do we take those people and have this common character system that we infuse in every cadet? On the commitment side, this is really about sharpening the sword, or the competence side. It's about sharpening the sword. It's about making people better, building skills, attributes that at the end of the day don't just resonate in the military or in the Army specifically, but are transferable to any entity in the civilian sector, which makes Army leaders specifically so valuable when they leave the service. It's why companies and organizations look for them, because that competence comes with the discipline, integrity, those values that the Army instill in them, which is why people want them. The discipline, the work ethic that our leaders and soldiers get on a daily basis over their careers and time in the Army. And that happens whether you spend 30 years in the Army like I have, or you spend 3 or 4 years like some of our junior officers and soldiers do. That becomes a part of who you are. And then the commitment. I think one of the things that our nation is deeply in need of these days are people who are more willing to serve the country as opposed to serving their own self-interest, right? And I think that touches all three of those, whether that's the character, competence, or commitment. But we're really looking for people who are committed to a mission that is really higher than themselves, more broadly than they think they can do,
Hmm.
that serves this really great purpose for what service in our armed forces and specifically the Army can do to someone. And those three, that triangle of character, competence, and commitment, I think is really what uh, creates the value proposition for those young people who decide to be a part of what United States Army Cadet Command, in terms of the Reserve Officer Training Corps at the senior level, ultimately leading to gaining a commission as an officer in the United States Army, whether you're doing that full time in the active component or part time in the National Guard or Reserve. That the three C's really fashion and round out what we expect in officers and build that foundation for um, the growth of their career and what they will become as a leader, not just for our Army, but more broadly for our nation.